I'm the president of the Canyon Springs Civic Association. And I want to thank Beltway Church of Christ for hosting us. And I want to welcome you to the end of the year legislation rally. It's an honor for me to see our neighbors, local advocates, our distinguished guests, state legislators, councilors, all in one room. We are here to review the progress of the past year, but more importantly, we are here to celebrate the spirit of collaboration that makes our work possible. The core of every bill, every budget meeting, and every community is one simple driving force: the desire to build a better community. Policies are only as strong as the people they are designed to serve. Building a safer, fairer, more vibrant neighborhood isn't a solo job. It requires all of us to pull in the same direction. Your voice this year have directly shaped the laws that protect our community, families, and local business. To our legislators and our councilmen, thank you for being our champions in the halls of our government. Your willingness to listen, your tireless work to bring resources back home, what turns our community goals into reality. Striving for a better community is not a journey, it's a destination. Today is about reflecting on how far we have come to recommitting ourselves to the work that still lies ahead. Thank you all for being here tonight, for your unwavering dedication to our community. But before we get started, I have a couple of community announcements. I want you to come out and enjoy meal with the community while supporting the great cause. Together we are having a dinner at Topolino's at 6320 Old Branch Avenue on May 20th, starting at 6 p.m. Whether you're craving their signature lasagna, seafood, pizza, or chicken with Parmesan meat, help us build a better community. Topolino's will be donated 10% of the proceeds to the Canyon Springs Civic Association. Just be sure, bring your flyer so we can receive the credit for your visit. I think we might have flyers out there. Also, I want to let you know that at Central Baptist Church in Canyon Springs, they have a community day on June the 27th, June 27th, and that's 8 to 3 p.m. It's a community. All right, now we're going to get started. And we are having a special presentation presented by our House Delegate, Jamila Woods. Ms. Woods, can you come up? Police. I got scratches on my feet. We're going to bring up the division, going to get our report from our police department first. I apologize. We're going to get our public safety, our police officer, division 4, and also we want to come up with Corporal Miller, and also we want to introduce you to new commander, new staff that we have here is Captain Costa. I'm going to give y'all a report about the community and safety.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Do I need the mic?
No, you do.
I talk pretty loud.
I can't hear you.
Turn the other way. There you go. You can hear me now. All right. I'm Corporal Miller, Prince George's County Police, one of the cops officers for the District 4. And if you got any problems with District 5 tonight, they couldn't make it, just let me know. I'll take care of that too, okay? All wear the same package. All right, for Canyon Springs area, we had one stolen vehicle from the 5300 block of Kepler. That was actually last month. And breaking and entering, which was actually last month on the 18th on Sharon Road. The detectives are still working on that. Other than that, nothing much unless somebody got something for me. Yes?
I would like to know how you would, there are signs in my mother's neighborhood that say that if you're caught dumping, it's gonna cost you $30,000. And I wanna know, how do you enforce that?
You got a tag now? You see somebody dumping?
No, we just have a sign. We just have a sign that says if you're caught, it'll cost you $30,000, but there's no way to enforce it. I mean, I don't know how you can help us. Just get a picture of the car?
Yeah, you get a picture of the tag number and you send it to me, I can investigate that and we'll find it.
Okay, $30,000.
I don't know if it's gonna be 30,000. Let me slow it down real
That's
quick.
what the sign says.
I don't make them rules.
That's what the sign
I just write a ticket, and I'm gonna tell you the ticket that I'm gonna write them. One ticket is gonna be about $1,500.
Thank you.
Now, all the other stuff I'm gonna write them, it still ain't gonna add up to 30,000. When it goes to court, that's up to the judge, whatever the maximum sentence is. Now, I don't know who put them signs up. So which street is it? So I need to come look at them signs.
We'll see that.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll tell you.
Yeah, because I've never seen a $30,000
Yeah, $30,000.
sign.
And there's like three of them saying, reminding people along the way.
And that's where they put their trash, next to
Okay,
the sign.
so if you ever see somebody dumping and you get a picture of the tag, I'm not telling you to go out and jump out and get pictures of this. You know, phones these days, you can stay on fall and take a picture. You take a picture of it. If you ain't got my number, I'm going to give it to you at the end. You can just send it to me. You can ask a couple other people on here. I will get to it. So just send it to me if you see a car. I'll go get it.
Okay, on my street, Glory Drive, cars come like on Friday evening, PM, like maybe 3 PM. They stay all night, Friday night, Saturday, maybe pick it up Sunday morning. And sometimes the Jenny tag, sometimes the diesel tag. So,
Are you talking about just parking?
the parking, that.
Okay.
And I don't know, I don't know.
Have you ever called that in?
I did call, and one time it was a stolen car at one time.
Okay.
But these two wasn't a stolen car.
What street was it?
Huh?
What street is it?
Gloria Drive.
Gloria. Okay. I'll check it out. I'm about to put it on my phone. Anybody else? Uh-huh. Is you talking from the side from the park or the side from the neighborhood? Yeah, yeah.
So I don't see why a teacher has to stand out there and tell me that I have to go by my room and tell her what I live in the neighborhood. I don't think that's fair. I stopped this many years ago. I think something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, I think it was years ago when we was out there writing on parking tickets for parking.
No, it's not the party. This is the parents.
So I'll go past here Monday and talk to them and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Over at the Avenue at Manchester Drive, that intersection,
Uh-huh.
the speed
Still speeding.
is 30 miles an hour, and they're driving 60, 70 miles an hour every day, all day long. That intersection, you got me like speed cameras before and after.
Now, I don't do the speed cameras, but that's kind of one of them hard streets to run radar on. So I run it on there, but I gotta stand out on the street and park my car on the side to run lazy. I know exactly what you said. You're not the first person that complain about it. I report a couple people, but it is hard trying to, when you come around that bend and all that stuff like that.
I mean, it's a straight shot, and then from over
Yeah, when
to
you-
the intersection,
Yeah.
it's 60, 70 miles an hour every day. I mean, I live at the intersection, so
Off road. Right. You're right, man, too. I don't think they ever do the speed camera. Well, they got one, but see, everybody, they slow it down and then
They
it's.
take it away.
You talking about like 6,800? 'Cause I know they said Go ahead.
Can I ask you a
Yes,
question?
ma'am.
I have a question about people coming onto your property without being invited, soliciting, and then when you ask them to leave, they continue and they're reluctant and they keep talking. I have a problem with people just walking up onto your property and you don't know who they are and they insist on saying what they have to say, even though you've asked them 2 or 3 times to leave. One day I was parked in under my carport, and someone walked up behind me. I didn't hear him, he did not say anything, and I was in the trunk of my car with my back to him. That could have turned out a really bad situation. And when I turned around and I said, please leave the property, I have a no trespassing, no soliciting sign hung on my light pole, visible to see. But he insisted on talking and saying what he had to say. I asked him 3 times. And then he got belligerent, told me I didn't have to be hostile. Well, he was on my property, and I didn't know what his intent was being there. So, and it's not the first time he's come. He's been there 3 times.
What street is that?
And then another.
She's at
instance-
5.
Oh, she's in District 5?
She's at
Still,
5.
what street is it?
Which street?
What street?
Avon Court.
Avon. Here's a question. Did you call on that person?
Did I call the person?
Yeah, did you call
I
the
didn't know
non?
the person.
You know, I said, did you call the non-emergency number?
I did, and I got no response.
Okay, 'cause, I mean, I think I got that same problem in my neighborhood. I got the signs up too, and I just had somebody do that to me last week. So, I mean, and I'm the police. It's kind of like one of them hard to stop. When we see them in the neighborhood, somebody calls, we stop them. So you got because you got the fake Capco people, you got the fake Washington Gas people, the solar people, you got everybody doing it. So,
Okay, it's not the utility people. Most of them have IDs.
yeah, these guys got IDs too, but they're not legit IDs.
It's scam.
Yeah, most of the time, and most of the time, the people that they try to give a hard time to are senior citizens. Like the guys last week, they just kept trying. I was watching their car before they even came up, so I had already had their tag number. Because I got cameras, so I saw them when they pulled up in my neighborhood. But if you can get a tag number off the car and call that in and give it in, because we can go and ask this person to see if they work for what company they work for.
Okay, most of the time these people are on foot. Not only do they walk on your property, they actually test the door to see if it's locked. I had one person who came and tried to open the screen doors. That didn't work. He banged on the glass. I could feel the glass shaking.
I'm gonna come back there after so we get your information.
I have it on my ring video.
I'm gonna come back there and get your info. And for anybody that needs my number that don't have it, I'm about to give it out. So it's 240-695-7474.
Can we text you?
You can do whatever you want to. Now, some of y'all be calling and texting like 1:30, 2:30 in the morning. I work 24 hours. I gotta go to sleep sometimes, okay? So I will get back to you. But you can leave a message. You can ask people in this room. I'll get back to you, okay? But yeah, you can text me. Alright. So I'm gonna introduce our captain real quick. This is Captain Cox.
If you can use the mic so this can catch it.
Oh, you do want me to use it?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I know it may be loud, but
Everybody here?
yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Brian Cox. I'm assigned to District 4. There's some familiar faces in here, so I know some folks in here. I know that many of you don't know me, so I'll keep this short and brief, but just want to introduce myself. At District 4, there is a somewhat newer command staff. I've been assigned there since December. I have a little over 16 and a half years on, or coming up on 16 and a half. I've been assigned to Oxon Hill. This is now my 3rd time. So I started there as a rookie 16 years ago. promoted up a little bit, went to some special units. Then I came back as a shift commander, as a lieutenant. And then I went to another special unit, and now I'm back as the captain at District 4. So I'm excited to be back here. I'm familiar with the community, the area. I have a lot of experience in this particular area, so I'm excited to be back here. Just want to take a minute and introduce my team. One thing I do want to touch on, and I apologize I couldn't be here tonight, but there is myself, and then there's Major Joe Kilo. He is the commander of District 4, and I apologize I couldn't be here tonight because he had a prior obligation. And then there's Captain Joshua Nickman. So there's one major and two captains. I oversee the investigations, the special assignment team, as well as our community engagement unit. Captain Nickman oversees patrol. So there's 4 patrol shifts, so he oversees all of them. So we kind of divide and conquer because there's so much and there's so many officers. To my left here is Lieutenant Bauer. He is the commander of our special assignment team. What they do is they focus on a lot of the high crime areas throughout the district. Anything that deals with drug distribution, handgun violations, people loitering, high crime areas where citizens are complaining. These are your guys that go in there and address those problems and look for people that don't belong in these neighborhoods that are affecting you and plaguing you with crime. So they do an outstanding job. His team goes in there a lot and they do what they need to do. To my left is Lieutenant Fontaine. She's the commander of our community engagement unit. Hats off to her, Corporal Miller, and some of our other team members who aren't here tonight. They do a lot of great work and outstanding work working with you all, setting up community events, really reaching out and just bridging that gap and building that partnership with you all. I rely heavily on them. They keep me informed and up to date. This is my first time coming to one of these meetings, particularly here at Camp Springs, so I'm really glad to be here. I'm honored to be here. I am a county resident here. I was born and raised in Prince George's County, so aside from me being a police officer, I really like to come to these meetings and engage with you all because I share a lot of similar concerns. As a resident of the county, I can relate to the frustrations that you have, that you bring to the police department. So working with you all to help solve these issues and come to some type of resolution, I think it really benefits the fact that we can come here, we can have open dialogue, we can talk about these problems, and that's the only way we're going to get things accomplished. You know, you try to do that over a Zoom call or something else, or just email. Coming here face to face and talking about these issues is the best way to have a resolution to some of these problems that we experience. So with that being said, I won't take up any more of your time. I know that Corporal Miller gave out his number. I will be here for a while. If somebody wants to pull me aside, I will gladly give you my email. I've done it to many other citizens in the community. Best form of communication is emailing me. If there's a problem in your neighborhood, an issue, I will certainly respond to your email. The more details, the better, descriptions, things of that nature. And then I'll pass it on to our teams as I see best fit, and we will certainly get on top of those problems and address them. So by all means, feel free to pull me aside, get my email, and we can chat.
Lieutenant Bauer?
Yeah. Just take a second, Lieutenant Bauer would like to introduce himself to you guys as well.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Bauer. I've spent over a decade at the Oxon Hill Station, so District 4 is my main area. As Captain Cox stated earlier, I run the special assignment team. So we are tasked with traffic enforcement, anything related to drugs or violations in that area, the shopping centers and particular problem spots, as well as any type of firearms related issues. So that's the main things that we focus on. And you can communicate with me through email as well. If you want to reach out to Corporal Miller, he can get in touch with me as well. He works in the same office. And so I'm open to anything that anybody needs here.
Thank you.
I'm Lieutenant Fontaine. I've been on the agency for 29 years. And like the captain, I am a stakeholder in Prince George's County. So it is my job to make sure that you all are taken care of, because where you shop, I shop. Where you live, I live. I am the commander of the Community Engagement Unit. We do most of the complaints that you all have. I've had the opportunity, I have all of the addresses that you all have indicated. Corporal Miller is going to get the remaining of the addresses so that we can help unify Prince George's County.
I just want to let you all know that we have a Coffee with a Cop coming up on May the 20th. Anyone familiar with Top Golf?
Yes.
We will be at Top Golf on May the 20th at 10 o'clock. At that time, we will have more information that we can give you as far as vehicle safety, how to protect yourselves, and also this new scam that they have going around with the ATM machines, where they're putting boxes on the ATM machine and you think your money is coming, but it's not. It's being held in a box. So come on out to see us. We're giving away clubs, and we might have some battery packs to give to you all. So just come and join us, and thank you all. Nice to meet you. We're going to get your meeting continue. Oh, I see a hand. Top Golf. Time.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't be late because you might miss the coffee.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just one more thing I want to mention. Two of the hot topics in District 4 right now that we're working on is retail theft, specifically at some of our Family Dollars and Dollar Trees throughout the district. The county's put together a retail theft task force, and with my team here to the left, we've really gone out and done some proactive work in the community and catching these shoplifters who are stealing things like detergent, toiletries, items, things that really drive up the cost when they're constantly getting stolen from these stores. So I want to let you all know that we're taking a proactive approach to that and working with this task force that the county police has created to try to address some of those problems. One more thing I want to touch on, and we had a meeting, the chief, assistant chief, some other commissioners. We met with County Executive Aisha Braveboy the other day, and it's in reference to trash dumping. Okay, she's running an initiative right now for the beautification of Prince George's County. We've been getting so many complaints with trash dumping across the county, more specifically here in District 4. We had a recent case near Palmer and Tucker Road where there was cameras strategically placed in the area that caught people dumping trash. Without going into the further details of the investigation, I will tell you that we've identified those individuals, okay, and they are going to be charged. I say that to say that we are taking it very seriously. The county is moving forward with some initiatives and things that they're going to do across the county. But again, that goes back to sharing information with myself through email with Lieutenant Bauer, Fontaine, Corporal Miller. If you see something, say something, especially when it comes to any type of crime, but those specific incidents, all pertains to certain areas of your neighborhood that are being affected by this, and hearing from you, yes, we want to have that. I think that in the future, hosting something like that where we have the community come together, but to talk about these things, but in the meantime, we are taking a proactive approach to handling it. And that's one of the hot topics that came up when I went to the Hillcrest Heights listening tour a couple months ago. Citizens were fed up with the trash along the Beltway and the neighborhoods, and we listened to those concerns. And now with the county exec's initiative and our command staff and the police department, we're taking strides to address those concerns in the community. So, all right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
We'll move down to our finance report.
Good evening, Camp Springs. Good evening. Okay, as some of you may remember, the Camp Springs Civic Association organized. They can't hear me? No. Put it closer to you. Yeah. Okay, as some of you may remember, back in March, the Camp Springs Civic Association organized a Double Good popcorn fundraiser. So I'm happy to report that after just 4 days of ordering popcorn and spreading the word to your friends and your families about it, your support helped us to raise $970, which shows you that our community enjoys popcorn. Okay? So I just want to give you a couple of bullet points about how we use money. It helps the CSA invest in our community with in-person meetings such as this, and beautification efforts for the betterment of Camp Springs, maintenance of our website and fees to distribute flyers, meeting notifications, and meeting signage that we put out in the community, yearly payment of our liability insurance, yearly renewal of our PO box. So we all know that with the current state of affairs, costs continue to rise, and despite that, CSCA needs to continue the good work that we do. So that's why, as our president just announced, we have partnered with Tafelino next Wednesday, the 20th at 6 p.m. to hold a restaurant fundraiser. Make sure you bring a flyer with you so that 10% of your food costs, your meal costs, is donated to us so we can continue our work. So come on out, support us, and enjoy a meal with your neighbors.
Support. When these money for the community, that's what we do. All right, so we move now to the next, we have a special presentation. Delegate. So good.
Good evening, everyone. How's everybody this evening? On behalf of these 26 district delegations, I want to ask Senator Muse, Senator Valderrama, Senator Muse, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Turner, if you will all stand. Matter of fact, if you can come and join me. We are so excited to be here before this Camp Springs Civic Association, and we would like to make a special presentation and proclamation on behalf of the 26th Legislative District in loving memory of Tina M. Green, honoring a dedicated community advocate and public servant. We have a proclamation here. My chief of staff told me I couldn't read the whole thing. So I'm going to read every other paragraph. Is that all right? It says, whereas Tina M. Green was a devoted resident, advocate, and tireless champion for the Camp Springs, Maryland community, whose life was marked by service, leadership, and an unwavering commitment to improving the quality of life for others. And whereas Tina Green worked diligently to bring attention to long-standing infrastructure concerns in the neighborhood, including the condition of streets such as Bartow Avenue, Cable Avenue, and Brayswood Avenue, helping to secure needed improvements for roads that had been neglected for far too long. And whereas she took great pride in civic engagement and public accountability, helping to ensure that members of the county council attended community meetings and remained connected to the concerns and priorities of Camp Springs residents. And whereas Tina Green's legacy is one of action, advocacy, and love for community, and her years of service left a lasting mark on Camp Springs and on the many residents whose lives were improved by her efforts. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Maryland delegation hereby honors the memory of Tina M. Green for her outstanding service, steadfast advocacy, and enduring contributions to the Camp Springs community, and extends deep sympathy and heartfelt appreciation to her family, friends, and all those who were touched by her life and legacy, presented on this 4th day of May by your state senator, C. Anthony Muse, and delegates Veronica Turner, Chris Valderrama, and yours truly, Jamila Woods. You can give her a hand. And then we have a Maryland General Assembly citation that says, be it hereby known to all that sincere sympathy is extended to the family of Tina M. Green, her lifetime of service, advocacy, and leadership, working to uplift her community, improve safety and infrastructure, and ensure voices were heard, leaving a legacy of impact, commitment, and love for the people that she served. Presented on this 14th day again of May by Senator C. Anthony Muse, delegates Valderrama, Turner, and yours truly, Delegate Jamila Woods. And we're going to present this to Ms. Quarles on behalf of Tina Green and her family.
sign. We're going to move down to our list. In fact, shake the man's hand. We're going to bring up right now. Sit down, Mr. We're going to bring up Senator C. Anthony Hughes to give his report. Who else?
Thank you, my friend. Good evening. It is a good evening, right? It's a very good evening. When I got here, I called my staff. I said, "Look, make sure you put my name on when you get here." And so I stood at the back squad. I stood at the back door. When I saw my name come up, I said, "We are so good." We are. It's good to be here in Camp Spring Civic Association. President Delonda Harrison. It's good to be here. Matter of fact, it's good to be alive. Amen. Thankful for how much time do we have? 2 hours?
10 minutes.
That's no shame. Okay, let me go real quick through a couple of things. Tommy and Jasmine, Tommy, you like y'all doing church, preaching, right? During this 449th legislative session, let me speak directly to you about what we faced, what we fought for, and what we delivered for the people of Maryland and District 26. I'm going to briefly go over some key legislation from the past 4 years. This was one of the most consequential sessions in a generation. We entered this session committed to 3 things: protecting our Marylanders, investing in our families, and securing our future no matter what the challenges may be. That's how we did it. At a time when federal actions have created fear and uncertainty, especially in immigrant communities, we took decisive action. For example, we passed SB 245, public safety. That's something that is very important to prohibit 287G agreements with federal immigration authorities, assuring that our local law enforcement can focus on community safety. When that wasn't enough, we strengthened protections through the Community Trust Act in the informal cooperation with ICE until due process is granted. So you just can't take anybody off the street, put them in the car and lock them up. They have the right to go through due process. We increased transparency in policing through SB public safety law. Enforcement officers face coverings and identification so that people will know who they are. I don't know about you, but if I saw somebody, just get out the car with a mask on and come out, I'm back up. Anyway, we presented the residents personal information from the Data Privacy Act, HB 711, ensuring that data cannot be misused for immigration enforcement. And through HB 1017, correctional services, property detention facilities, zoning requirements, we stopped again the expansion of ICE detention facilities in Maryland unless it is approved by our government and by our local jurisdictions. Because in Maryland, public safety is built on trust. We made it clear that no one is above the law. And then we put the No Kings Act, SB 346, which established a civil cause of action with constitutional rights violated under the color of federal law. Lowering, important to us was lowering energy costs and holding utilities accountable. That was a major problem. We heard and listened to families from across the state struggling with rising energy bills, so we passed the Utility Relief Act, HB 1532, number 1, to reduce annual energy costs, and 2, to increase oversight of utility spending, 3, to require large-scale energy users to pay their fair share. That's right, because that's what needs to be done, right? They always do things and pass the cost on to us, even when they say, oh, you're not going to get the cost save energy production. And this legislation represents one of the most aggressive efforts in a generation to make energy more affordable for Americans. This legislation represents one of the most aggressive efforts in a generation to make energy, again, not just more affordable, but to make sure that for persons like our seniors and others, as seniors and those on a fixed income, can be able to keep their lights on in this situation. We also passed a capital budget, one of the largest budgets we've ever passed. This budget funds health care for 1.5 million Americans. It invests $10.1 billion in education. It expands child care and pre-K access and supports individuals with developmental disabilities. Provides energy assistance to those who need it most, and we preserved over $2.4 billion in reserve to protect our state's future. Now, for Prince George's County, I want to highlight that we were able to bring back $1,250,000 to administer health care. Don't you think it's a shame when you go to the emergency room, some people sit there all night. They sit there in pain all night simply because we do not have the beds to do so. We work hard with our delegates, who I'm so appreciative of, and you really want to give them a hand because they work extremely hard. They work hard. Nothing can be done without teamwork. Nothing can be done on our side because they have to pass on to their side, and they really fight for those of us who are citizens here. We brought back just some funding projects I was able to bring back through legislative bond initiative. Some of these are joint efforts with the delegates, and Del mentioned that. We were able to bring back Camp Springs Elks Lodge, $75,000. A Rugby Community Development Corporation, the house, we were able to bring back $90,000, and Home Share Plus $150,000 into the Oxford Hill Recreational Club. $500,000 is what we were able to bring back. We supported vulnerable individuals through Neighbors Act SB 745, ensuring that law enforcement is trained to respond to persons. We call persons and somebody is having an intellectual or emotional ability, and they end up shot, and they end up being arrested. So we wanted to make sure that there's special training for police officers to that. Then as far as public safety and criminal justice, I serve on the Judicial Proceedings Committee. We took steps such as SB 334 that bans dangerous machine guns. They were able to take just a regular gun, look at it, and turn that gun into a machine gun. And so we moved to make sure that that didn't happen because it's happening in our communities. So we also did SB 730, Senate Bill 775 that strengthens gun buyback standards, and Senate Bill 160 that improves reporting requirements for firearm dealers. We also advanced meaningful criminal justice reform. And let me say this, there's some people who do belong in jail, okay? Until they can get themselves together. But then we made sure that we separated those who could be helped and who needed help and needed rehabilitation by doing the following, making sure that the Youth Charging Reform Act prioritizes rehabilitation for young people, and SB 187 supports the development of a women's pre-release center, because true public safety means for all sides both accountability so that we can move forward and be able to make sure that we're moving along in a fair way. To continue supporting our seniors in our communities, we invested in our seniors through SB 15, expanding multi-generational community spaces, and Senate Bill 860, creating the Aging Resilience Fund. All of this is more is in my end of session report. Where was that report? I'm finishing that. Where's the end of session report? We have that here somewhere. Yeah, on the table over there. Look, we also made sure that people who committed crimes when they were 20 years old Some of them never even had a court trial. Some of them had no findings at all. The judge says no findings. They didn't know that they were going to have a record. And some of them are 60 years old, 70 years old, and they still have a record. Have not done anything wrong since then, but they still can't live where they want to live. They still can't get jobs that they want to get. So we made sure, and I was blessed to be able to write the first expungement act. We made sure that people who had not committed crimes since their first encounter with the law, that they will be able to expunge it, get it off of their records. And the gentleman said to me, it's the first time, I'm 71 years old, he said, and it's the first time I felt like a citizen. And the home where I served, our deacons and elders in the church who still have records. So we're making sure that those records will be expunged. Lastly, and I'll finish with this, we wanted to make sure that those who were injured and now out, we wanted to make, is that for me? If it ain't God, hang on.
It's one of his servants over here.
Oh, okay, that's fine, that's good. We wanted to make sure, and then just switch to this, that if someone's in jail and they have to pay child support, then child support should be paid. But when they get out of jail, they have such a backlog, or they're in such debt that they can't pay. And they can't get a job because they were in jail. And so what we did was to make sure, and it made things worse, their driver's license are taken away. So how are you going to get out and get a job with no car? So I was able to put in the bill to deal with that, and dealing with that, I'm hoping and thankful that that will surely change. So that's part of my report. I stayed with them a time to do what I'm supposed to do, and let me just say my time is up. Thank you for yours. God bless you.
Anybody has any questions for the citizen? Yes.
I'm not sure that's a over time. This question. Just for the senator or our everybody. How do we welcome the stranger? Welcome the stranger. And I'm referring to our neighbors who come from other countries. They're used to a different culture. And it's hard for individuals to report these situations because it creates friction. So is there a way that the county could take up, there's a way to acclimatize people to the culture? You get what I'm trying to say?
I understand.
You know, everybody come out in cars on the street, if they're in the house, trash in the yard, and I'm not going to protest about this as an individual.
I understand what you're saying. One of the things that when I came to this community, one of the things I made my part of to learn is to know my neighbors. And regardless of how they feel, I always speak to them and learn my neighbors. And we're able to iron a whole lot of things in the community. Learn your neighbors. You just can't see them doing stuff, say they're doing it. Talk to them. Talk to them. Young people like run around, talk to them. That's what I try in my community. My street is nice. And everybody has my number. And I moved up. You can't disappoint. You gotta go out there and sit down. I'm watching this right here. I have another thing for you, son. 2 minutes to tell us why should we be elected?
Oh, why should we be elected? Yes. I'm glad you're here because I made sure I was prepared.
He was always
Okay, I'm going good with time so far. Yes. I think, and I asked you to re-elect me, is because I hope that I have proven that I listen to people, and that in listening to people, I've had results and still delivering for people. And I'm grateful for that. My character has been tested, and I've stayed true to my values. And as I said to them, I walk in here with my integrity, and I'm walking out of here with my integrity. My time in the Maryland legislature, I'm coming up to my 5th term, which is 20 years. My time has been 3 areas of focus: public safety, affordability, right, and opportunities for others. I really have been concerned about those who are and have been termed the least of us, because I don't believe there's anyone who should be the least of us. I noticed that even in our party, and we always talk about, and it's good, the middle class. I never hear anybody talk about those who are less than the middle class. So it is, in my opinion, the right to lift people no matter where they are. And that's what I've spent my time doing. I think it's important for our youth on the street. So I worked $450,000, and when it's over, would have brought back $500,000. Would have been brought back $1 million, so we can build Boys and Girls Clubs in our neighborhoods, and thus they don't have to spend time on the street. I want to be re-elected because I have secured funding for pregnant women with HIV. I have held utilities company accountable for what they do. I have made sure that in our housing, that as best as we can do with all that's going on, that no senior is without housing. Our veterans, people don't often talk about veterans, but I'm thankful that our veterans and we're here, and they've defended this country, and they ought to be able to have benefits that will assure that. 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you.
You know you ain't supposed to give a politician a mic. You know how that is. I'm sure you know I have to stay right here because I can't. What are you saying? I'm too short. Okay, can you hear me now? All right. Good evening, Camp Springs. Woo! I love you. When I moved here from Washington, D.C., I came right to Camp Springs. And I've been loving it ever since. And of course, you know I'm still 29, so don't y'all forget that. 29. Okay. Good evening, friends and neighbors. As your delegate from the 26th District, I want to thank you for your ongoing trust and support. It has been a truly an honor and my life to represent Prince George's County in Annapolis. This past legislation, the General Assembly faces tough challenge, complex decisions. My focus is always on what's best for our district, District 26. Fighting and fairness, investing in our community, guarantee that Prince George's County get their resources and recognition it deserves. This year, we bought $384 million back to Prince George's County to invest directly in our neighborhood schools and all the vital service that we have. Our major highlight this year was passing of legislation supporting the Sphere. Do all y'all know that the Sphere is coming to National Harbor? Boy, when they told us that, I was jumping for joy. Okay, jumping for joy. Let them know what does all that mean. This project I was so proud about. You know, it came out of my committee, the County Affairs Subcommittee, where I was a proud member. With the passing and approval of the MGM Sphere, we are projected to bring in additional $2.2 bring a worldwide entertainment to our county. This will be specifically boost more of our tourism industries in the local economy. We also advance a bill to protect teachers and students, including expanding tax relief for teachers who buys classroom supplies out of their own pocket. Y'all know about that. They came and they ain't got no money, so the teachers sit there and go in their pocket and pull out money to help these students and supplies that they need. Okay? We fought to keep education on a priority, even in the state, for difficulty for our budget, because our children are our future. Y'all know that. The state provided $14 billion in Medicare benefits and $1.5 billion in SNAP. Y'all know about the SNAP. A whole lot of y'all in this room need to know that. SNAP to support families and seniors throughout Maryland. This session, I was proud to support a new consumer protection for artificial intelligence, AI, which includes our data is safe, and Maryland's always receive medical advice from trained professionals, not just computers. We also tackle predatory pricing, a practice to keep our groceries affordable, and pass legislation to protect ride-share drivers and guarantee fair housing and everyone in the community. I also work to pass local legislation to create rent stabilization for most of our vulnerable citizens, including everyone that has access to safe and affordable housing. While not every bill passed, I remain committed to support our seniors and fighting for tax relief to them, to help them to retire with dignity. And also I depend on the input to my job. Your voice guides my vote. Priorities. Thank you for engagement and partnership in making the 26th district a good place to live and make great project process. But there's more job work to be done. I also want to work with building and every brighter future for Prince George's County. I want to thank all of y'all for listening to me. And just one more thing, and I'll take my seat, is that I gave away this year, over 106 scholarships. We have 4 high schools in our district, 4 high schools. And these people, they start sending in those applications, and I give everybody some money, even the one that's got a 2.0. And not only I give them $500, but I give them a nice little letter that if they do a little better next time around, I will give you more money. Sometimes you got to do that. And would you believe I had some students that didn't notify me and say, I brought my 2.0 up to 3.0, and I gave them more money. Thank you. Oh, and one more thing. The reason why I'm 1 minute, okay.
There's a question.
Oh,
Right here.
I want you to
Just jump there.
This is my brother. Okay, I got you.
Young man.
I got you.
Young man. Young man. You
Who
have
is
a
it?
question?
You got a question? Okay, baby. I'm here.
I was wondering about how about the spear, right? And you mentioned that you wanted to focus on how we get economic development. However, I wanted to know that whether you were using, our government, or whether you're using our tax dollars for private development. I don't think that the spear is going to be something that benefits the private industry, and I think that they should invest all of their money into it, and we should have to use our money, our working class money to, fund the corporation. And also with saying the data get about the polluted water and air. And furthermore, I think this, we can also, in terms of this bill, we can also use it to create, mixed economic development, especially with more walkable neighborhoods. And that can actually help offset the balance of creating a better, because there's actually like a high demand of, you know, like 8 plexes, 4 plexes, cottage economy, and that could actually be used to better offset the balance than, you know, AI data centers and, you know, the current building housing environment.
My goodness, that was a good statement that you said. You said you're coming up to Annapolis. How? You coming up to see us in Annapolis? We need your voice, baby. How you think we gonna make it if you don't give that voice all those great ideas and bring it to all of us, the senator and these 3 delegates? What the Spirit is going to bring us so much money and jobs and entertainment. We can't wait to get it built. I want him to go. You have some good points, honey, and I'm going to take it. I got my chief of staff over here, and he done took all the notes, okay? You got that chief of staff, there he is over there, John McCarthy. He's going to make sure, talk about all the things that you talked about. Okay, madam, what can I do for you, sweetie?
Hi, good evening. This is a follow-on question to the comments about the sphere at National Harbor. Now, this project may bring significant economic activity to the county, but surrounding communities will also bear the substantial impacts, including light pollution, major increases in traffic congestion, and enormous utility demand that could contribute to rising electricity costs for residents. What specific community protections, mitigation measures, and binding community benefits agreements have been negotiated to ensure that residents are not left subsidizing or suffering the burdens of this development?
I want you to know that we're still in negotiation and there ain't no reason why. I love that question. It's a good question. Don't think we ain't thought about surrounding around this area. Remember, we still under the 6% rating, remember, about the jobs in the community, about what's, don't think that we have not discussed that. We had a meeting up in Annapolis with the county exec who brought up here to tell us about all the things that was going on with the Spirit and the things that they're going to be doing and looking at. Some of those questions that you have brought to us was brought to us in that meeting. Okay, what about crime? What about, you know, driving? You know, we don't have no parking there. You can't even park in National Harbor. Okay, so we want some parking. We want to bring these jobs. These people, a lot of people still are out of work. And they bring in over 250,000 jobs. And so we got working with unions, I want you to know, so we can have good jobs and good benefits. Okay, so I want you to know those questions. We are still in negotiation. We're still going to be working with the county exec about all these things and the county council to tell them, listen here, we need some of these things before you bring all this stuff to us. And I know we need the money. We need the money in Prince George's County. And we're going to work with you. You got all of us as we working together as a team. You talk about the county exec, the county council, the senators, the delegates that you have. We all want to have a voice, and we're going to bring it to the community with your input. Don't think we're going to leave you out of this, because this is big, y'all. Big, big, big. Okay? So, I know you're going to be there firsthand. So, all right. Okay, I got 2 minutes. Okay. Let me tell you. 2 minutes. Okay, I know the question. Listen here. In my 20 years, instead of you said his 20 years, he's still a baby. I'm still 29. Let me tell you, in my 20 years I have been here, I have been a good servant. I work with my seniors. We go to the senior homes. I work with the kids, the veterans. veterans. We do a lot in the 2016. We do not forget where we came from, okay? And I went into since I have to tell you what my age is, I'm 76, even though I tell everybody I'm 29. But let me tell you something. I feel that the Lord is not good. I am a cancer survivor of cancer 3 times. And the Lord has not finished with me yet. I think I still got a lot of energy, a lot of things to do, and working with my community. And Camp Springs is one of the best civic associations. I want y'all to know this. Because let me tell y'all about y'all will come to Annapolis and let us hear your voice. And we're so proud of y'all, we do not know what to do. And I'm running again for the next 4 years. Please stay with me. Come June the 11th through the 18th is the voting, and the 23rd is the primary. Don't forget, I am here to serve you. Doors always open. Please consider me. Thank you.
Christopher
Thank you, President Harrison. Good evening, Camp Springs. Good evening. One more time. Good evening, Camp Springs. I'm going to start off by saying forgive me. I have a sinus cold, nothing viral, don't worry. It's just that time of year. First it was allergies, and now it's like cold air everywhere. With that said, I just want to start off by saying thank you to President Lance Harrison and Ms. Monique Taylor for always inviting me and including me in your annual legislative wrap-up. It means a lot to me. I do not take it for granted. As was said, Camp Springs, you're probably the more effective or productive. I'm not slighting any other association. It's just that you guys really come through and produce and want to hear from us, which we welcome, which I can honestly say I welcome. I also want to thank Beltway Church of Christ and Minister Lonnie Johnson for allowing us to host our wrap-up here this evening. So, I don't want to be repetitive because the Senator has mentioned quite a number of items that I was going to mention. But as all of you know, he and the 3 delegates, we represent the same population. So we're not like other states where the Senator and 1 delegate represents a jurisdiction and so on. We represent all of you at the same time. But because we all do different committees and such, we try to bring back as much information for each of you as much as possible. So with that said, I want to start by sharing with you, while it may not seem important, I want to share with you how relevant it is. So the beginning of this legislative session, which was our last session for the 4-year term, it's unheard of and it's unprecedented, but our former speaker, Speaker Adrian Jones of Baltimore County, stepped down for personal reasons. And so we had to elect a new speaker, which is now Speaker Josephine Peña-Melnick, who represents both Prince George's County and Anne Arundel County. She's doing a phenomenal job as our new speaker. With that said, she made many leadership changes, and one of those changes is to include myself. So in our 8 standing committees in the Maryland General Assembly and the House of Delegates, we have 8 standing committees. 5 are female, 1 which I am. And she appointed me to oversee and preside over the House Economic Matters Committee, which is a very important committee, I will say. And I take that appointment, I do not take that lightly. I take it with honor and humility. Just so you know, we oversee quite a few issues in that committee. We used to oversee energy and alcohol. We no longer have that jurisdiction, but we still have important issues such as labor, not taxes, that's Ways and Means, but insurance and other important issues that are there, workers' comp and what have you. So I mention that because being in leadership, and in that kind of leadership, we have, not just myself, but the leadership team has the ear of the House Speaker, and that is important. That is important, and why do I say that? So Senator Muse mentioned one of his bond initiatives, or our bond initiative, was to support Adventist Fort Washington Hospital, which is in Fort Washington. That was a last-minute bond initiative. Why because the budget was already accounted for. Like there were different initiatives from every delegate, every senator, 188 of us total. So you can imagine how many asks and requests there are for bond initiatives. Unbeknownst to me, I was approached by the budget committee chair asking me if there were any other initiatives that were needed. And top of my head, because the hospital came to me at the 11th hour, there was nothing to be had. But because of leadership, it is very handy, let me just say. So I put it out there to share with you so that if there are initiatives in your community, in your civic association that needs to be resolved, please share that with us. Do not think anything is too small or not as important. Everything is important, especially in your civic association and in your community. So I also wanted to share with you a few pieces of legislation that I worked on here in Legislative District 26. And many of you here have met me in Annapolis, and I thank you for that. It's the only way I can work my best is when I meet you, whether it's by Zoom or in person or even by phone. But many of you know, and I know many of you here use Indian Head Highway Route 210. So I am the reason why there's every piece of speed enforcement on that roadway, because 7 years ago, I was approached by the 210 committee and have been working with them diligently on trying to improve safety on there. We're not quite there, we're not even close, but we're trying. As many of you may have seen on the news, there was just another tragic fatality on 210 with a school bus that was involved. Fortunately, there were no children on that school bus. Unfortunately, we lost a young life. I don't recall the young man's name, but he was only 23 years old. I think we can all test one life is too many, and my God, 23 years old, that's just tragic. I introduced two different bills this session regarding 210. One is called point-to-point technology. As many of you know, when you know there are speed cameras, you tend to slow down, and then as soon as you pass it, you speed up again. So point-to-point technology, I am very surprised at how far we got along this session. A lot of measures that we introduced in Annapolis do not pass in the first year, maybe not even the second year, maybe not even the third year. But this year, we were able to get it out of the house. Point-to-point technology, basically, I'm not a tech-savvy person. Everyone assumes because I'm Asian, it's that stereotype that does not apply to me. So I put that out there. But it basically takes the average of your speed from one point to another point, hence the title point-to-point. Second bill that I worked on for 210 had to do with penalties. We have a lot of aggressive recidivist drivers on Highway 210, which is, if you didn't know, nationally, unfortunately, we are known, 210 is known as the highway of death, and that is by the AAA as well. So, if you have family, children, guardians, whoever it is on 210, I'm always praying for my girls when they're driving on 210. Unfortunately, people use it as a raceway. And I know I live close enough to that late at night, I hear everything flying through 210. So those were a couple of issues that regarding 210 I wanted to share. Also, I wanted to mention, and I know Delegate Woods played a role in this as well, the whole team, but I know very active, so I'm sure many of you were aware of the project that was trying to be attempted across the Woodrow Wilson Bridge from Virginia, with VDOT trying to install toll lanes and the such. And I think everyone here can attest we don't want that. That's enough, we have enough traffic and congestion here on this end. So that was one of the issues that was also worked on. As far as bond initiatives, I mentioned that earlier, we also got money for the Oxon Hill Swim Club. And again, if there's anyone here who's thinking to themselves, well, they didn't give me money or what have you, just ask. Just approach us. There's many people, as you can imagine, in District 26 who want something for their nonprofit, for their civic association, for their community, whatever it is. So please know that your ask is not minute, it is not little, it is important just as everyone else's. We mentioned the $250,000 for Adventist Healthcare. That was very needed, and just so you know, not nearly enough for what they need. Not nearly enough. I will mention housing because I know that's a critical issue here in our state. The committee that I preside over, Housing and Economic Matters, we now cover that jurisdiction of housing and land use and zoning. So there were two bills that Governor Westmore, his initiatives. Two of them, one was the Maryland Housing Certainty Act, and basically what that did was just to make clearer for many of you here who probably had an issue with developers and builders when signing their permits, it makes it more transparent. It makes the rules more transparent for those seeking to build a house here in our great state of Maryland. So what the legislation seeks to do, or what it does, it will accelerate the housing production by locking housing codes and regulations at the time a project application is submitted. At the time that it is submitted, ensuring that approved housing developments are not derailed by after approval rule changes. Because that has been an issue that the county executive has shared, maybe not as prominent down here, but in the northern end of the county, and it's definitely an issue. Also, a second issue with regard to housing is the TOD, the transit-oriented development alterations. Governor Moore very much was pushing this forward, and basically what that does is it focuses on transit-oriented development here in Maryland. We already have prioritized, we call it TOD, transit-oriented development. We have already prioritized TOD development around our fixed rail transit stations. So that is something that has not happened across the state. We're basically trying to take advantage of state land that we have built around there so there's more commuters, not on our highways, but on rail. So that's a big issue that was brought forth this session. I also want to mention consumer protection. That's a big deal, and I know I've been getting quite a few residents reaching out to me, I guess in my first going out as chair of this committee. But food retailers, it's called dynamic pricing, and so food retailers and third-party delivery service providers. The bill is a consumer protection piece of legislation to keep our grocery prices affordable and predictable. So ensuring that the need for price transparency over algorithms to determine how much a customer might be willing to pay. So the bill bans food retailers from using dynamic and surveillance pricing, a cost-setting method where prices are inflated based on time of day, weather conditions, and personal data, which I'm pretty sure we all do not want that. Is that good me? Okay. I'm just trying to share as much. If you have my legislative letter.
I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes because of
okay, I understand. All right, so I want to mention one more thing because I think this is very important, and especially in our jurisdiction, in our county, where we are majority minority in the county. So everyone here, I'm sure, can attest and knows what happened in Tennessee. What they did in Tennessee just recent, unfortunately, they just wiped out the Voting Rights Act like it was nothing. Like, I think we can all attest we are not going back to those days. And I will say that in the state of Maryland, Governor Moore, Lieutenant Governor Rena Miller, the administration is working hard so that we avoid those types of issues. So House Bill 350 was the Voting Rights Act of 2026. And this bill, it enacts strong protections to ensure that people of color, Black voters, and all Marylanders with disabilities can fully participate in the electoral process free from discrimination. I definitely wanted to add that. I will end by saying, do I still have that 2 minutes, or is it just 1 minute?
Go ahead. You have 1 minute and 7 seconds.
Okay, and I like that. Very on point. Why me? My word is my bond. And anyone who has met me in my tenure here, I serve as your highest ranking House member in the delegation. I serve proudly. And I thank each and every one of you for supporting me and reaching out to me, because it does mean a lot instead of just doing things and not hearing from the constituents. I'm respected, as the senator said, my reputation in Annapolis is impeccable. And I say that proudly. And I can prove it by saying that I was appointed to lead as a chair. No one just gets picked just to randomly preside over a committee. So I just want each and every one of you to know how humbled I am to represent you. I am you. I just have the honor of being one of the representatives to represent you here in District 26. What you may not know about me is I'm a lifelong resident, proud product of the public system. I'm a Clipper. I went to Oxon Hill High School. I even went to PGCC. I even graduated from Salisbury with Dirty Seagull from the Eastern Shore. But I never left my district. I don't know if that's good, bad, sad, or otherwise, but I'm told it's great. But yes, never left my district, raising my family here as well. I've never grown down to college graduates. I cannot believe it. But I will say that I have a proven record for results. I work across the aisle. For those of you who have come to Annapolis, you cannot get anything done, just by yourself. So if you ever hear anyone come before you and say, I, it is not so. It's we. And it's not just we as a team. It's we across the aisle with your other colleagues, our other colleagues in both the House and the Senate. Thankfully, we have a senator who works across the aisle as well. So with that said, thank you, Camp Springs. It is a humbling honor to represent you, and I thank you very much for having me here this evening.
beautiful home they have here. All right, it's okay to give a pause for applause. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come and share, I'm trying to get the voice here, and to share this 26th District Legislative wrap-up town hall meeting. My theme is driving the blueprint for change, and so my goal as a part of this 26th District team is to make sure that we are moving in a direction that we need to go, not just as a community, but as a state and as a country. And I believe that is what we all want to do here in this District 2016. And so I'm excited to have that opportunity and to share some of the things that I've done. I am the baby of the bunch. I am the baby of the bunch. This was actually my very first legislative session. Thank you. This was actually my very first legislative session in Annapolis, my first term, if you will. And, you know, I have to continuously thank Senator Buse because I was having a very difficult time in my life when he convinced me that I should join his team and get on this ticket and do this work. And I really literally had come to the place where I said, no, I'm not going to do this. And he said something to me that was profound for me. It may not be profound for everybody else, but when I kept putting them down, well, let me tell you first, you know, he's a preacher, so I think God has a crush on him, although I think God has a bigger crush on me, but that's another story. And I'll never forget, he said, you know, you really should come and run and be on this ticket. And I said, Senator Buse, I got too much. I lost my son, I lost my mother, I lost my husband in an 8-month period. And I was like, you know, I can't do this. And I said, this is what I said. I said, if God wants me to run, then he'll make provisions. And so the filing time was February 15th, the first time. And February 15th came and left. I said, see, God don't want me to run, right? He calls me back and says, what you gonna do? I said, Senator Buse, the filing deadline has passed. He said, Woods, they extended it to March 15th. I said, God got jokes. And so then, March 15th came and left. I said, see, God don't want me to run. I get a call from you. Woods, what you gonna do? I said, Senator, this time really, the extension period even cost. Do y'all know for the first time in history they extended the doggone filing deadline to April? I was like, okay, God. So I went down and I filed, and that's the end of that story. And I do want to thank Senator Buse because, you know, sometimes we have to learn how to build a bridge, right? And get over our challenges, get over our situations, get over our circumstances. And I say that to say this. You know, what we do, we can't do without you. And so all of us have to get to that place and that space where we recognize that we need each other to survive. We cannot do anything as your legislators without your input, without your support, without your backing. And so I want to talk about some of the things that I've done and assure you that I'm deeply committed to leading with compassion, responsibility, and a people-first approach to policy making. I want you to know that every bill that I support, every vote I cast is guided by one question. How does this improve the lives of the people we serve? Yes. How are we driving that blueprint for change? And so I have the opportunity in my first term to have several leadership roles. I serve currently on the Judiciary Committee. That's the House side of the Senator Buse talked about his role in the Judiciary on the Senate side. So I served for the first time this past session on the Judiciary Committee, which was, that's a big surprise. And an even bigger surprise is that I was made the chair of the Juvenile Subcommittee, so that's juvenile law across the state of Maryland. That was a huge shock. I'm sitting here on a committee with a bunch of attorneys, and I'm not. As the chair, I was like, okay, guys, you're trying to tell me something. And so in this role, I focus heavily on youth intervention, on rehabilitation, accountability, and reducing long-term harm to young people and their families. Maryland currently ranks second nationally in sending children to adult prison. And Black youth represent nearly 80% of youth charged as adults in our state. These realities require serious conversations about accountability, prevention, and intervention. Children who commit crimes must absolutely, let me make myself very clear, be held accountable. But how we do that really matters. We have to continue investing in rehabilitation, trauma-informed care, behavioral health services, and opportunities that reduce recidivism and strengthen our communities. In addition, I don't know why I went from healthcare to law, but that, I guess, was the direction for me. I currently serve as the chair of the Law Enforcement Committee for Prince George's County for this delegation. In this role, I work to support legislation focused on public safety, community trust, responsible policing, and stronger collaboration between residents and law enforcement. Public safety is not just about enforcement, right? It's about prevention, it's about stability, it's about mental health support, it's about youth services, it's about strong neighborhoods, it's about supporting our law enforcement officers in the same way as it is about protecting you as a people. And my goal is that we will collaborate together. I was told that I've been the first chair of law enforcement who's actually reached out to law enforcement and said, hey, let's sit down and talk. Let's talk about what's important to you. Let's talk about how we collaborate to make this difference so that everybody's lives are improved. And so I'm honored to have that role. I also serve as the Executive Secretary of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland. For those who don't know, the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland is the largest black caucus in the United States of America. I was the only freshman that was elected to that position, and that also came as a surprise. I remain proud of the work that we've accomplished together and hope to continue to do that work with your support. I also serve as a state director for women in government. So we have women in government directors for every state in the United States, and as a state director, I collaborate with women leaders from across the nation to bring innovative ideas and policy solutions back to Maryland. Those conversations directly influence my work on mental health access, healthcare equity, and family-centered policy solutions. It's a wonderful thing when you can go to other communities and learn what's working for them and know that you can come back and bring it home to Maryland. And I brought bills home to Maryland specifically because of my relationship with other states and finding out how those bills work. I think that's forever important for us. Some of the legislative highlights that I'd like to bring your attention is that I put a bill in this year, and Senator Buse talked about the idea and the context of this particular bill in another bill. My bill is HB 1014, the right to treatment. It did pass in the House. My bill didn't pass. It's a long story to explain to you. We had a Senate crossfire. We were in the midst of trying to make sure that the Senate and the House bills were identical, and unfortunately my bill got lost in the mix, but I'm so excited that the House bill passed. This right to treatment bill is so important because how many of us, by a show of hands if you want to, if you know this all right, know somebody who deals with mental illness? And how many of us understand how significant it is that when you have a loved one, a friend, a spouse, a child who deals with mental illness, and you see that that person is starting to decline? Anybody ever had that besides me? You see that that individual is beginning to decline, but you can't get help for them because the judge is not going to do anything as long as that person does not immediately present as a danger to self and others. Even in the midst of this bill, this session, I lost a loved one. A loved one, we were trying to do the same thing. We lost him during this session because of mental health challenges, and judges would not intervene. When you know that your loved one is taking psychotropic medication, and they may act like they're doing fine, but that bottle ain't been taken in 30 days. Anybody been there 60 days? Or that person isn't eating, or that person isn't sleeping. I think that it's important that we bring it to somebody's attention. I know people who've been taking psychotropic medication. You can live very well having mental health challenges. Did y'all know that? Just like you can have a great life with diabetes, right? Or hypertension. You can live a great life having mental illness. It's important, though, that you are taking the medications that you are doing what the doctor has prescribed. But what happens is so many times, people feel like, oh, I'm doing better. I don't have to take the medication anymore. Yeah, am I the only one that knows folk like that? But the reality is you're doing better because you're taking the medication. And so I passed this bill. It took a while, but the bill says that now we can make sure that people are assessed. When we know that that person is declining, when we have recognizable things to show don't get caught up in the last 3666. This bill was a bill that says, a lot of people don't realize that a calcium score test will allow you to know if you have a possibility of being diagnosed with heart attack or stroke. You can be healthy, you can be asymptomatic. Is that what time it is? Keep going, Jesus, I was just messed up. You can be asymptomatic. But this bill lets you get tested, and guess what? Not only does it let you get tested as an asymptomatic person, your insurance has to pay for it. I've done a lot of work around youth and family advocacy. I put in a youth reform bill to talk about putting those services. How can we talk about what our youth are doing if we're not putting services in place? If the community centers are closing down, if the basketball courts are not there, if the things that our youth need to do to prevent them from doing other things are not available to them. And so I did that. You all heard talk about the budget investments that have taken place through this governor. We talked about affordability and family stability, education and workforce stability, development, energy affordability. Someone came in today and said, I had a refund on my electric bill. And I need to know ain't nobody messing with me. That's a good thing. You all should come to us. Those are questions you should come and ask us so that we can help to clarify what's happening when we talk about money put in the budget that helps you with housing, that helps to prevent you from being evicted. We have a lot of stuff that took place in this last legislative session that is really beneficial, and so it's important that you reach out to us to ask those questions and get that information. How was that?
I have a question.
You can't have a question.
Did you already talk about the, I gotta remember what it is. It was a bill, it's some test that you need to, when you go to your doctor, and they have to.
That's the calcium score test I just talked about?
Which one? Is that the
Calcium score test is the test that you can go to the doctor, and if you have one of 4 signs, you can have a loved one who died prematurely from heart attack or stroke, you can have diabetes, you can have high cholesterol, or you can have hypertension. If you have 3 out of 4 of those, you can go to your doctor and say, I would like to have a calcium score test. They have to do it, not only do they have to do it, your insurance has to pay for it, whether it's private or public insurance. And this is the test that most people don't realize is the #1 test to let you know if you are at risk, even if you're asymptomatic, if you're at risk for a heart attack or stroke. Calcium score test. And if you need more information, we can provide that to you. Somebody else? Yes, ma'am.
This is a question not only to you, but to your colleagues as well, on both sides, in Annapolis. An act that we've been pursuing for 10 plus years called the Cherish Act. It's the cumulative harms to environmental restoration for improving shared health. This legislation sought to address cumulative environmental and public health burdens in overburdened communities through stronger permitting review and public participation requirements. Despite significant public support, coalition support, and years of advocacy, the legislation did not pass during the 2026 session. What do you believe were the primary reasons the bill failed to advance, and what specific political, economic, or institutional barriers prevented Maryland from granting communities stronger protections against cumulative environmental harms?
So to answer your question, why didn't it pass? I can't answer. It doesn't make sense for me. But what we've done and what we do is that we haven't gotten the Cherish Act passed, but we've been putting in a lot of other bills, right, that address those things, bills that address the environment, bills that talk about things like the data centers and the impact, the environmental impact that it has on our residents. You know that I've been a staunch fighter for preventing putting data centers in our communities, in our residential communities. We, Delegate Turner, addressed the issue about the sphere. This 26th district team is having a 26th district dialogue about the spheres, and we're going to bring the stakeholders here. And I want to tell you how they're going to assure that there will not be a negative impact in our communities when they start bringing them in. What people don't understand is in this 26th district, we have a huge amount of people who deal with autism. Did you all know that? In the 26th legislative district. Dementia in the 26th legislative and geographical challenges, but the research shows it. And so I'm in great support of Cherish Act, but in the meantime and in between time, when we can't get that bill as an overhaul bill passed, we are putting in other smaller bills that are impacting our community, smaller bills that are showing that we're not having all of these things that impact our health and our children's health and our seniors' health. And so I hope that answers your question, that at this point, sometimes when you can't get the big picture, you gotta take a little picture at a time. And that's what we're doing, take a little picture at a time and getting those bills passed. As you know, we're trying to make sure we're using other energy sources, windmills, all of these things that we can use that will both reduce our burden financially, but also provide us with better services that give us better health outcomes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Is that it?
Yes.
That is it? Oh.
Just one question. Why do you question
Because I'm cute. No, y'all should be elected. I am cute. Y'all should be elected. You should be elected me because the reality is this. From the state house to your house, I'm here for you. I try to make myself available. I've been doing it ever since I started. I've long before running for office, which is why Senator Meeks could call me and ask me. I did a lot of work in the community. I did a lot of social justice work. One of the things that Senator Meeks said to me that made me run, and as an answer to your question, is that he said, if you don't run for office, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to keep coming up to Annapolis with a whole I'm going to keep coming up to Annapolis, and I'm going to keep telling my senator and my delegates, y'all need to do this, and you need to put this bill in place. He said, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you write the bill? Why don't you be the president? It was like a light bulb went off in my head. And that was the thing, literally, that made me stop. Because he said, Jamila, you have the capacity. That's the reality, right? Let me tell you something. The bills that I have passed in Annapolis, 90% plus of those bills I passed because of people like you coming up to me saying, we have this problem, how are we going to resolve it? Anybody that knows me knows that I can tell you that. That's how the bills I put in got passed because of you. So as I said earlier, we need you to get this work done. It's your lived experiences, but we don't just need you to come up to us and tell us that this is what we need. We need you to come up and support us. Yes. Right? We need you to come and rally with us. And here's the thing, you don't always have to come to Annapolis. You can write letters now. You can testify live. You can testify virtually. You can testify virtually. So it's not like you got to be bogged down. Although some folks feel like, and they keep us up half the night. Because when you come, we're going to give you the dignity and respect of listening to you. When you come, we can't leave the rooms, right? And we can't leave the room until we heard your testimony. And sometimes that means we start like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. We may not get out till 11, 12 o'clock at night. And sometimes later than that. But if you come, can I tell y'all, we need you to come. We need you. We need for folk to see you, to hear you. We need to hear your experiences, and they make all the difference.
But we have Mr. Mark Hamilton here, Director of Constituent Affairs. That's correct? Constituent Outreach. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
And Councilman Burrows regrets that he got called into an emergency meeting with the county executive, so he regrets, but thank you guys, Camp Springs Civic Association, for having me here. And I just want to go over some of the legislative actions because it's almost 9 o'clock and I understand that you guys want to do. So some of the things that we have done this year, the Critical Workforce Housing Assistance Program. It was a program, so CB099. It was a program where we worked on housing affordability legislation to help teachers, first responders, and critical workers become first-time home buyers in their community through zero interest and deferred interest home assistance. So if you're interested in that, please call our office. The home ownership equity program, expanding home ownerships to residents by helping create pathways for down payment assistance, underwriting support, and then closing assistance. We also did the deceptive trade practices by landlords and work to strengthen tenant protections and increase accountability for landlords engaging in deceptive practices or unsafe condition and hidden fees. And we're trying to crack down on those landlords. So CB 048 and then CR 011. It was a resolution. We actually were kind of the first to start seeing the rise of the public utility rates impacting Ventura County families. And so we asked the Attorney General's office for transparencies and answers when the bills continue to increase. We also co-sponsored some bills. The Colorado Rules laws, making legislation no mandatory waiting period to report a missing person every second when a loved one disappears. And then we also, in the works, introducing a bill that to require the board group of licensed commissioners to provide greater transparency and demographic reporting to liquor store licensing, including information where license holders reside and demographic data connected to the licensing distribution. Because there's so many people that are outside of Prince George's County but own liquor stores and different things in Prince George's County. So we have vape shops and all of that. Some of the other things that the community initiatives that we did. This week we actually launched the Foster Care Task Force to examine how Prince George's County can better support foster youth and children of incarcerated parents. The Senior Support Fund, we provided rental, mortgage, and utility assistance to more than 3,200 residents of Prince George's County. And then also the Pepco assistance. So dealing with that utilities, one of the things we didn't only say we're going to investigate, but we said we're going to help pay. So the reason why some bills are being paid off by Pepco is because your name was given to us or by a family member or something of that nature, and they applied for the Pepco assistance to help. We've helped more than 1,200 residents receive utilities. We also did with the 100 Black Men, in partnership with 100 Black Men, gave more than 550 federal workers received relief and support from federal assistance. Last year when Donald Trump was cutting federal jobs, we helped those people get assistance. Upcoming community things. This Saturday we're hosting a community health fair focused on connecting residents with important health and wellness resources and services. And then we also have the smoke alarm and fire safety program. In June we will launch that. It helps to give smoke alarm and fire safety program to help families improve home safety and emergency preparedness. So I'm here acting in Councilman Burrows. So if you guys have any questions, please. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for standing in for Councilman Burrows. My question is this. Prince George's County has experienced 3 major environmental disasters in as many months, including what's been described as the largest incidents of their kind in the nation's history. Those are the 2 sewage breaks and the 32,000-gallon oil spill at Andrews Air Force Base. Yet, residents have heard virtually nothing from either the Public Health Department or the Department of the Environment regarding remediation efforts, public health guidance, long-term monitoring, or protections for impacted communities. What actions, as District 8 officials, what actions have you taken to demand transparency, public notification, environmental testing, and accountability from the relevant agencies? Additionally, what specific legislative or oversight measures will you pursue to ensure residents are informed, protected, and not left to bear the long-term health and environmental consequences of of these disasters in silence?
Understandable. So one of the ways that we are trying to do is work more with the Department of the Environment so that there should have been public health and public awareness regarding those three things. And then the other thing that we're trying to and then the next thing that we're trying to do is also with our emergency preparedness team from the county executive, trying to make sure that those emergencies are taken very, very seriously and also given proper guidance. So once we have more information and everything, I can give you more, and I'll give you my business card later so we can talk about it.
I think you should share with everyone.
We all want to know.
The whole community wants to know because we've not heard anything.
I understand.
So, not just me, everyone.
I understand.
Our Department of Environment is cowtail to Andrew all the time. This is not the first time Andrew Air Force Base has dumped some waste into our roads.
That's why I'm here. I'm Dean Act, Potomac River Keeper. I live in District 26. I live off of Piscataway Creek. Piscataway Creek is the most contaminated creek in the entire state of Maryland for PFAS contamination, forever chemicals, the highest levels of any stream in the entire state. We worked with South County Environmental Justice Coalition for 2 years to try and get some type of community outreach and cleanup. There was billions of dollars put in place, and then the Trump administration zeroed that money out for all the remediation that was going to go in to start cleaning up PFAS contamination. And now we're finding out they dumped 32,000 gallons of jet fuel into Piscataway Creek. My organization has worked to test all the streams draining Piscataway Creek. Andrews Air Force Base. There's 8 of them. They're all contaminated with PFAS contamination. So I'm just urging all our delegates, Delegate Woods, all the Delegate 26, Senator Hughes, I've talked to you about this before, please help us hold Andrews Air Force Base accountable because they are answering to no one. The Department of Defense is doing nothing to help this community, respond to this community, and there's extensive contamination on that base more than it's finally getting some media attention because of the jet fuel, but it's a super fun site and it's been going on for years. So I just want to bring that to attention. Thank you.
In regards to that, I was not aware of that. And then the other thing is that you reach out to any of the federal agencies who actually have direct
All right. Do you have any more questions?
Has nothing to do with the oil spill or the gas spill, but I work healthcare and my hours.
We can't hear.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? My hours are different times. I work healthcare and I have an issue, it's a growing issue. I live in a very quiet neighborhood and as a matter of fact, we refer to it as legacy neighborhood. And we're inundated with roosters. Not just hens and chickens that kind of thing, but if you're asleep and the roosters start crowing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you have to get up at 5, 4, or 10, you don't want to be tired when you come to sleep. So the roosters are really, it's so many in my neighborhood now, and I think they're off schedule. What can you do about this?
I'm not too sure. It depends on the zone. Because there are certain zones in.
I live right off Ark Road. And the roosters are huge roosters.
And I understand that when you have to wake up 2 hours later and you hear roosters all.
That relates to the question I raised
But I will look into that. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. I want to thank Mr. Hamilton. And we once again, I want to thank the people for coming out and expressing your concerns. Thank you for your concerns. Thank you for being proud of. I want you to have a safe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sit house. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Reginald Martin. It's Coach Martin. Reginald Martin. I just had some mental work, so my speech is a little off tonight, so you can keep us on this. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. taught throughout these 14 years. Same thing. Anyway, basically, the function of the Central Committee. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. One of the many functions of the Central Committee is to educate our voters, educate the community, increase our democratic support with voting, and just make sure that our constituents are aware of, the candidates, understanding the purpose and the importance of voter turnout. And I tell people sometimes, regardless of who you vote for, we want to push them around, but get out. My mission this go around, we had the Obama movement. I'd like to see more of our young people, and young people, whatever age, I'm trying to get out to the schools, trying to push, hey kids, this is what you need to do. Don't forget this is what you need to do. Another mission I have, like this morning, pick some of these high school graduations to get the kids again informed, educated, get the parents informed and educated. Then that way, the kids who know that my mom, my dad, my whoever supports these kinds of things that we do. Now, folks will say to me, why would you run for other, positions in Annapolis? Guess what? I like hanging out at Safeway, at Starbucks, on the parking lot, Giant, here and there, meeting the constituents and believing in so many people that knew me more than I knew, but I get them for information like the housing situations. I consider myself an advocate. I'm an RN of 50 years. I'm a veteran retired veteran. I've been in our community at least 26 years. And, I'm just so much of a component of a lot of things that we're doing in this community. And is it time up? Yep. No. Okay. All right. I'll see y'all in the corner. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good summer.